This episode is brought to you by Santos Threads. Make sure to visit Santos-Threads for the latest and greatest in men's and women's Latino urban-inspired streetwear. Visit SANTOS-THREADS.com. Hey, you are now listening to the Santos Says podcast, episode number 39. Once again, it's that time. Joining you right now, your host, Santos, proud owner of Santos Threads. Of course, make sure to check out the spring 2022 collection, Santos Threads. Of course, Santos-Threads.com. And also, do remember, follow me on social media, Santos Threads Shop on Instagram, as well as Santos Threads Shop on TikTok. And we don't stop. Of course, feeling good. We're here on episode number 39. Time flies when you're having fun, folks. On this episode, I will have a special guest. This person is an interesting person because I've actually known about him for several months. for several months through his manager and his wife, which and I had him in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, I have to speak with this individual. He goes by the name of Benny Gonzalez, and he has a very interesting history. And I want to talk about his career, what he's done, what he's up to. And he is a bachata artist. This is the first time I've had the pleasure of interviewing a bachata artist on the podcast. So I'm very happy to do that. I always want to, you guys know what Santos Says is all about. It's all about bringing in those individuals who are entrepreneurial, who are Latinos, minorities, people that are doing positive things and really bringing them kind of like telling their story, having them tell their story in their words and having that dialogue. So that's what it's all about. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the show, of course, as I mentioned, this person is an individual who's been at it for a while. He's been at it for some years, an artist, grinding, of course, and bachatero. And also, I'm going to ask him about his earlier music career as well, because he did mention that he used to sing freestyle as well. So that's interesting. We'll get into all that and a lot more. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to the program Benny Gonzalez.
Hey, what's going on, Santos? How you doing?
Hey, Benny, how you doing? You look like an artist. Nice. I like that. Thank you for coming on. First of all, I really appreciate having you on, and love that you were gracious enough to come on, and I appreciate that.
Well, no, thank you for the invitation. I haven't done this in a long time, so bear with me as I'm trying to clear out some of the rust.
Hey, listen, you're used to performing in front of people.
Yeah.
So it's funny. We'll get right into this. Let's shake off the rust, right? Vamos para encima. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Here's the thing, right?
Yep.
I knew of you. See, I knew more of you than what you thought I knew of you. The reason is because I had the honor of, not to go too, it's not a long story, but I had the honor, the privilege of interviewing Mr. Bobby Simmons.
Oh,
and
okay.
Through him, right, I met your wife through him because she mentioned that you sing.
Wow.
Right? That she was your agent.
Way back now, yeah.
Bruni.
Yep.
Right?
My fiance, Bruni, yep.
Yeah, so I said, okay, that's awesome. I checked out your music back then. ¿Qué pasa? Life happens. I go through all these different things as far as like I'm super busy and like you escape from my mind. Right?
It's okay.
You escape from my mind.
Yep.
And so now I'm remembering you. A couple of weeks back, I'm remembering you again. I'm refreshing myself with your songs. And I'm like, you know what? I got to have him here. So that was the story. And so I'm glad that you're here.
Hey, no problem. Sometimes it happens that way. It doesn't happen at that precise moment, but then, it takes time before, people start to acknowledge you and that's when they pull through. So, nevertheless, I really do appreciate that you have me here, and taking part of this interview. It means a lot.
No, definitely. The pleasure is mine. So let's get into it, right? Let's talk about you. This is all about you. This is your show. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
we'll get into you.
Let's do this.
We'll
Let's do
talk
it.
where. So let's start at the top. We'll start at the beginning.
Hmm.
Where does Benny Gonzalez come from? We'll start at your beginning. Where are you from? What is home to you?
Well, home to me is the state of Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Okay.
It's way before Boston, Mass. So it's a little town. It's a little town they call Ghost Town. So
Okay.
that's where I
Yeah,
was born
I've
and
heard of
raised.
it. I've never been there, but I've heard of it. Yes.
That's where I was born and raised. Majority of my life I've been there, and roughly about around the age between 12, 13, I my family and myself, we moved out to Puerto Rico, and that's where I got to learn how to speak Spanish because I didn't know how to speak Spanish for the life of me. Didn't understand how to say hi, como
Really? Oh, you were Americanized.
yeah, so I was born and raised out here in the state of Holyoke, Massachusetts, and then, after living out there for 3 years, I did school, moved back out here, and I ended up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I've been living there since.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But
So
now I'm currently lying in Manchester, New Hampshire.
nice, nice. All right, Manchester, New Hampshire. So you're keeping it in that general vicinity, right? It's not the same exact area, but let's say not far from the New England
Yeah, not
region.
far, not for now. Because you never know with the music industry where you might end up at. You can end up in one place and might end up in another.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta always be adaptable. So,
Yeah.
right. So, all right. So now the next question is,
Yeah.
you are Puerto Rican. You are of Puerto Rican descent, right?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Where's your family from exactly from the island? Because I'm also Puerto Rican myself. But
Well, I have a little bit of Bronx in me because my father was born and raised in the
nice.
Bronx, New York, and my mother, she was born in Guayanilla, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
But she was born out there, but she was raised over here. So,
Okay.
but I have some of the island in me, and then I have some of
New
Bronx
York.
love. So, yeah,
Let me
at the
tell you,
moment.
every Boricua that's either in Connecticut,
Hmm.
Massachusetts, Pennsylvania
Yep,
has a route back to New York.
yep.
Everyone.
And that's
Ev-
where all the talent stuff, all the talented artists come from. Majority of the artists that you see around, that bloodline, it's in their blood.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure, for sure. And so, I mean, obviously, like you when you were telling me your story, how you because I remember I heard your music and I was thinking I could hear some of that freestyle influence in you,
Yep.
and then you told me it must. You know what? I gotta be honest with you. I think in my subconsciousness, I must have remembered hearing something about that story because I don't. Because then it refreshed my memory. I'm like, wait a second. You
Yep.
have that influence of a freestyle singer, but you're incorporating it in a bachata way that is very contemporary, Spanglish. You could hear the influences. Talk to me about where that style came from, and you can also talk about your, if you want, in whatever order, with the freestyle music. Where did you
Okay.
get that
Well,
from?
well, I've always been revolved around freestyle music. From my family members that were involved in the freestyle industry out in Massachusetts. It was a huge thing back then and a huge thing now. It's still out in Massachusetts wherever you go. Basically, it's globally. Not as it was precisely like it was earlier back in the years, but I've always liked the freestyle music. I've always been into freestyle music. When I would listen to George Lamont and Stevie B, and you had your Judy Torres and Lisa Melendez, and all these legendary artists and stuff like that. You watch them on TV and all these music videos, and it's just blew me away. You know, love music. That I've always been. I've always had that thing with love music. I would listen to hip hop and whatnot, but it wasn't something that caught my attention. Not. I would listen to some like LL Cool J and you have your Rapper's Delight and Houdini, but I was more into the more love style of music. So I For unfortunate circumstances, I ended up losing my mother to cancer in 2007. She passed away of cancer, colon cancer. And I was with a friend of mine at one time. I was living with him at that time. And he had told me that he knew someone that recorded music. And I was like, really? What kind of music does he record? And he told me, well, he does everything. He does reggaeton from, hip hop to freestyle. When he mentioned freestyle, I was like, well, I would definitely swerve and want to try out the freestyle thing. See, you never know where it goes. So like, if I were to make a freestyle song, I would want to do a song precisely for my mother. She was the most important person in my life and a positive influence in my life. I would like to do something for her. So he ended up contacting the person, and we all got connected in one place at his studio. Basically, how a lot of us Hispanics be doing. We
Yeah.
have a little studio in our bedroom, and we function with a mic, and then you have your regular
We
computer and your
improvise. We improvise.
we improvise. So the song was done within 4 hours, and the song was called Una Flor, and I wrote the song was written by me, and it was a nice song. It was a nice song, and I was able to perform it at a nightclub in Springfield. I don't know if you maybe have heard it or not, but it's called Sky. It was at that time it was called Skyplex nightclub.
It sounds familiar. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
and that was the spot, man. You had a lot of people that was over there going to dance bachata and your salsa and your merengue, and but freestyle, in 2010 in the state of Massachusetts
Mm.
is not as strong. It's not. Nobody wasn't really into it like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But the DJ introduced me on stage and whatnot, and he was like, "Hey, le quiero introducir una persona que va a cantar para todos nosotros una canción que hizo en freestyle y en español, because in freestyle, it's very rare when you hear Spanish freestyle.
No,
You
right,
hear,
right,
you
no, right.
know what I'm saying? It's very rare. So, a lot of people were like, whoa, that's something different. So when the song started playing and I started singing it, wow. You know, as I was singing, I was looking towards the crowd that was there. There was people crying and tears and all that. It was real nice. You know what I'm saying? I got emotional because seeing that, I performed back then, but, like in school choirs, in
Right,
choruses,
right.
but I've never sang publicly. That was my first time. And boy, was I nervous. I was
Of
really
course.
nervous. It was my first time. I was like, I said to myself, like, are these people gonna boo me, or are these people gonna be like, what I'm saying? Like, I was like, how are these people gonna accept me? So after singing it, I mean, I got, everybody applauded me, and it was nice. And that was the first time I ever performed. But
Wow.
I felt like that was something blessing because it was something special of me I wanted to share with them. It was my mother, so that
Wow.
was where it started. Yeah,
And she was watching you. Look,
yeah,
that. Believe me, she knew how much you wanted that, and she was guiding you through that moment because there's no question. I really believe in the idea of the guardian angel. Like it's real. Like
yeah.
people joke like that, but it's not a joke. Like right, that's real.
Exists.
I really believe it exists because I'm sure you felt it many times. You could feel her presence.
Yeah,
Um,
I do.
when you're doing what you're doing, right? Whenever you're doing what you love, she
Yeah,
knows. A mother knows what their child loves to do, and so she
right.
was there guiding you through that moment, and it must
I
have been
felt
great.
I felt like she was there that night. I felt she was there that night. She was guiding me through it. You know, although she wasn't there physically. I wasn't able physically to see her, but I felt her presence. You know what I'm saying? I felt her spirit was there guiding me.
Yeah,
It was
for
nice.
sure. And you know what? That's interesting you say that because that's not the only song you have dedicated to your mother. I know for a fact
No,
you got another one that you
well,
dedicated.
yeah. Well, see, when I recorded that song in 2010, fast forwarding, I ended up re-recording the song in freestyle again.
Wow,
The second
really?
time, yeah.
Wow, wow.
You may have probably haven't heard it, but the song was redone because what happened was is that some of the words were mispronounced.
Okay, yeah,
So,
understandable,
right, so
understandable.
it was mispronounced. So the producer at the time, which his name is Artie Rodriguez. I don't know if you've ever heard of Artie Rodriguez.
Yes,
Yeah.
sounds
Okay. So
familiar.
right. So I got with Artie Rodriguez, and we fixed some of the pronunciations in Spanish, and then that's where we recorded the song over again in 2017. We re-recorded the song, and more words were added to it. The song had a deserving longevity that it deserved because the first song was it was nice, but it was short. But then again, it was mispronounced. So that's how we ended up doing the song again, and it came out beautiful. It
And
really did.
it's funny that you had that kind of like that idea in your head, right? You're like, I know that because it was for your mom too. You felt a sense of, hey, I got to make this right, no
Yeah,
matter how many years passes, right? You felt like you owed that
yeah.
to
I
your
was determined.
mother to get
Yeah,
it right, especially right from what you told me too, knowing
yeah,
that hey, she was from there, she was from Puerto Rico, even though she lived here a long time in the
yeah,
states, but you felt like she's not here. This is for mommy. I
yeah,
gotta get everything. Let me get it right. Let me get the pronunciation right. And you talked. You know, I appreciate you having that transparency too, because it can be
yeah,
hard when you're not right. Like you have that in your blood. You feel like, yeah, I'm Boricua, I'm
yeah.
Latino, right? But you know that you're in your case where you mentioned your Spanish wasn't there yet, so you
Right,
worked on it, and
right.
kudos to you for going back. You could have left that song like that, right?
Well,
But you
yeah.
didn't want to
Sometimes,
do it.
yeah. Well, there's a say that sometimes people say you can't retouch something that's already has been done
Right? Correct. Yep.
because people listen to how it was before and they're used to how it's done before.
Right.
But this time when I made it again, I wanted to make sure that if I redid it, I wanted to make sure it made sense, and I wanted to make sure that people ended up loving it.
That's amazing. No, that's
Yeah.
amazing, and I give you a lot of credit for that. And
Thank you.
so you mentioned, right, going back to what you were saying, because you talked about, right, in 2010, in the 2010 decade, right, in the
Yeah.
2010s, you're there playing around with freestyle, as you mentioned, right, if you will,
Yeah.
for lack of a
Yeah.
better term. You're trying it out, experimenting, doing different
Yeah.
things, and I
Yeah.
guess you say you find that the reception was not where you wanted it to be. So now the question is, at what point did you discover bachata?
Bachata, it's kind of funny when I mention it. I'm already smiling about it because um, I was browsing through Facebook and I so happened to stumble on a show that was going to be booked in Methonian Mass. If I'm not mistaken, it was so long ago. But there was a show that was booked, a bachata show that was booked for Methonian Mass, and bachata pop artist Dominic Marte was on the card. He was the main. I don't know if you know who Dominic Marte is.
Yeah, I do. I do. Very good singer. Very good
So
singer. Underrated.
yeah,
Yep.
so
Very soft voice. Yep.
right. So he was booked for that show in Methonian Mass, and then I'm a type of person. I'm not as much as I was then. Like I am. I was a lot more of a daredevil then.
Right,
So
right, right.
I ended up calling the promoter that had put that event together, and I called him and I said, mira, soy un artista de freestyle y me gustaría saber si por casualidad hay una oportunidad para mí abrir el show para Dominic, que si esto, que si aquello. And the promoter of that event turned it down. He was like, yo no sé si eso puede ser posible porque ya tenemos una gente que pusimos en el flyer, no
Mhm.
podemos,
Right,
you
right.
know. So I was like, all right, saying, you and I know that that wasn't the case. The guy
Que
doesn't
ya
know
estamos
who I am.
comprometidos, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Ya.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He doesn't know who I am through a hole in the wall, so he's not interested.
Mhm.
Fine. So then, me being crazy as I was, I ended up going into Dominic's music page, and I sent Dominic himself a message. And
Mm.
I sent him a message personally. I was like, look, I'm such and such. I'm a freestyle artist, and I would like to know if what are my chances of opening your show. I was like, I know this. I know this man ain't gonna send me a message. It's a waste of time, but whoever,
A
let's see what
shot in the
happens.
dark. A
Right.
shot in the dark.
And then all of a sudden, boom, there goes the message. It was
Wow.
him. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Oh man, no problem. I'm gonna talk with the promoter." I was like, "Thing is, I've already spoke with the promoter, and he told me that there wasn't any room." He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you your room." So he goes back, talks with the promoter, gets back to me. He's like, "You're gonna open the show for me." Like, "Oh, all right, cool." So there I was. I opened up the show and for him, and that's how pretty much I got myself like kind of a foot in the door when it came to the bachata scene.
So my
So
question for you, you know what I'm gonna ask you, right? Because I'm very curious about this now. What
yeah,
was the promoter's reaction to that? Did he see you and look like the cat who ate the canary? You know what I mean? Like just kind of like,
kinda,
right,
yeah. He
right?
kind of
That
like,
must have felt good. That must have felt good.
yeah, like he was like you effing, like you found a way and you jumped over me.
Hmm.
You got to the artist I booked to get yourself open. That's how I was though then.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now the person I am today, I don't overstep boundaries, and that to me now it's a sign of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I see things differently. I'm not much of a daredevil. If the people want to see me, they'll see me. If the people don't want to see me, they don't have to see me. But I look at things now as I'm gonna be recognized and acknowledged at some point. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, I'm freshly doing this bachata thing. And I've been taking music out, and my music has been featured in charts under tropicals, a music choice.
Yep.
It's played through different radio stations globally. So people are starting to adapt and getting to know who I am now. I still, regardless of what's been going on, as far as being number 20, number 10, number 15, or number one on the charts, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Just because you're an artist and you're being established, you have a nice digital source that helps people globally know who you are as an artist. I still need that push.
Of course.
I'm saying
Yeah.
I still need that push where where a person's gonna take me and go, let me present you to this world of music
Right.
because I did the freestyle thing and I've seen with I can honestly tell you I've seen with freestyle's very best legends that there has been in the industry. From Shannon to the Seven Mendes to uh, who else? Coro, Suave. I've performed with all these big time artists in the freestyle industry, but there's only to a certain limit to how far you can get to.
Hmm.
I'm
That's
okay,
right.
so this, like, not everybody's gonna want you to take the rice and beans, brother. If you know what I mean.
Right.
You
Right.
understand? You
That's
understand what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah, of course.
So
Of course. That's how it is.
yes, you know what I'm saying, and it happens in every industry, not just it happens in every genre. It's just not freestyle, but I'm sure they have it in their bachata, merengue, salsa. But I'm right now. I'm just getting started. You know, there's plans that are going to be developing slowly but surely. It's a process. In the music industry, you have a lot of people that think that your success is going to happen overnight. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it works. It's your process is getting to people to get to know who you are as an artist. You know what I'm saying? And then everything follows up behind that, where now you're gonna get booked, you're gonna be traveling. You know what I'm saying? That's where I want to get to. But slowly but surely, I'm gonna get that push. You know,
Yeah.
there's some plans here and there that are coming in the works, but it takes time because right now, look what happened with all this pandemic thing.
Yeah. It pushed everything back to the side. You know.
Like right now, when this pandemic thing hit, bro, when this pandemic thing kicked in, it threw me back
Right. Right.
because I had already finished my whole entire album my destiny. I finished the whole entire album, ready to go. And then what happens? Boom, this pandemic hit, and it put everything on hold, on pause. You don't see anybody in the music industry performing on stage.
I remember.
Most of the time you were seeing everybody on virtual concerts,
Yeah. Which
and
is not the
everybody.
same. It's just not the same.
It's
Yeah.
not the same. It's not the same as to where you're singing in front of a live crowd, a live audience. You know what I'm saying? And it's still like that today, unless if you're someone in the industry on a platform,
Right. You got a
right?
big machine behind you.
Right.
A Sony.
You got a big team behind you that's gonna support you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be there. That's the kind of support I'm trying to get to. But for right now, my objective is getting myself known
Yeah.
and use this blessing that God has given us that created this digital platform in order for my face to be presented with now the music that I have. Now people have the face. They know who Benny Gonzalez is now. Through your platform, now people are going to get to know who I am. They're going to get to hear my music and that stuff.
You
And again,
know,
I think.
no, for sure. No, the pleasure is mine because I knew
Mhm.
you were talented. I heard your music and I was like, what I liked about it was how you incorporated English and you had your delivery, your cadence to singing is very different for what is typical or traditional bachata.
Yeah.
Which I like. That you want to be different. Like that's the thing. You want to stand out. You don't want to sound like, let's say for example, a Romeo Santos, or you don't, right? You don't want to
Yeah.
sound like these guys. You want to be you.
Right.
Benny
You know,
Gonzalez is Benny Gonzalez. So I like that you
yeah.
had that. You could hear the freestyle element, but it works because it's different.
Right. And
You
that
know,
that's that was the whole thing. That's what I was looking at. I'm trying to get out here to be known as me. I don't want to be I don't want to be uh, being compared to any other artist. I want to be I want to be known for me and myself. This is the reason why I wanted to combine these two elements,
right,
two
right.
formulas together, and present this. Hey, look, this is something new. Yeah, it's bachata, but there's a different feel.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm presenting this to the world. So it's something, you know, and people are starting to adapt to it. The people are starting to adapt to it. They're wondering, who's this Benny Gonzalez?
Right, right.
All right, because people are searching me up. Yeah, they see a face. There's not a music video. Okay, there's not, because independently, my brother, I've been doing this with my fiance independently. You know what I'm saying?
There's gonna be
And
plenty of music videos. They're coming.
it's right. They're gonna come within time. This is a tough business. All right, you're gonna have the good come with the bad, and the bad come with the good. You're gonna have to learn how to accept both sides of the fence. You know what I'm saying? And what kind of progress, prosperity, or any goals that you're gonna achieve if there's not any failures, any holdbacks. You know what I'm saying? You have to catch the whip
Right, right, right,
in order
right.
to see yourself pull through. It's time consuming, but you know
It's gonna pay off.
it's gonna pay off. And I'm hoping that before it pays, I hope that when I do find the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm there to see it. And well, and if I'm not, at least I know after death, I'm still living because my music's gonna live for life.
That's right.
You know,
That's
I'm
right. It's
never
gonna be
gonna
a
be
legacy.
forgotten. Right. So if people are
So
not gonna remember, if people are not gonna know me while I'm living, people are gonna know me about my music and who I am while I'm no longer here.
that well said. Well said, because that's the thing. Like this is your legacy right here. So that's why like there's always that, there's individuals such as yourself who get that, right? They get that. This is your legacy. This is gonna be what they know you as. You know,
Yeah.
my legacy is this and the other stuff I'm doing, the business, right? Like this is all my stuff to pass on, right? So I guess like my question for you, I have to know this, right?
Yeah.
There had to be someone along the way that asked you to sing salsa. There had to be.
Yeah, of
Has that
course.
ever come across? Have you ever wanted to sing salsa or thought about it? Talk to me about that. Since you are Boricua, so I just yeah
Oh, I love salsa,
yeah
and I've had numerous, you know, including Bruni as well. I've
right
had a
right right
lot of people that suggested, like, why don't you give salsa a try? You sound like you have great vocals for salsa. I was like, I'll do it if the opportunity is there.
right right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like I told you again, I mean,
Salsa's
if the
expensive,
if
by the way.
huh?
It's expensive to make salsa.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah,
general,
right. People don't know that, right? Yeah,
yeah, in general, the music business, any genre of music, you have to be prepared.
hmm
This isn't freestyle, man. This
yeah.
isn't freestyle. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to downfall
I
freestyle.
know what you
I'm gonna
mean. Yeah, yeah.
always, I'm gonna always have love for freestyle. This is where I came from,
You need an orquesta. You need an
right?
orquesta. You need.
I
They
need a
don't know.
band,
Yeah,
right? I need a band. Even with the salsa, when you're
yeah.
recording in the studio, these people bring in live instruments
Mhm.
to record in the studio to do sessions,
Yeah. We're not talking about rapping over a beat or something like that.
right?
I love
And
hip hop. I'm just saying.
right, but most importantly about the music industry, you have to have the investments.
Right.
You have to have the investments. You have to prepare yourself for frustrations.
Right. Right. That comes with the territory.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell. I've had some moments, brother,
Of
where
course.
I've been so frustrated, and it's like at times I'm like, damn, should I keep on going?
hmm
Am I wasting my time? But then I have Bruni and I have other people that tell me, hold on, take a deep breath.
hmm
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Collect everything together. It's gonna come. You just need to be patient for it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing comes one day after the next. There's artists like uh, I can't mention new artists, but I know that there's artists that had longevity sitting on a big start. It's taken them anywhere between 10, 15, 20 years, bro.
Yeah.
Before they
Before
even
anybody
got
knew them.
before they even got the spotlight that they deserve. In this case, it could happen to me. I've been in the industry since 2010. Here we are, bro. 2022.
It will happen to you.
And
Not it could.
and
It will. It will. You got to
right,
manifest it, and I know you will.
right,
It will happen. You be especially if you're putting in the work. You're putting in the work. You have the
mhm,
ability. You have the talent. You have the desire. Now
yeah,
you're just building those connections, right? So you're building those
yeah,
connections. It
right,
will happen. Tell yourself that it's going
right.
to happen. It's just a matter. It's not if. It's a matter of when. As long as you
Right.
keep that mindset.
There's one thing very important when it comes to being in the industry of music. All right, and this is for a lot of the artists out there. You have to have a humble heart, bro.
Right.
You have to have a humble heart. You gotta be a good person because whoever is there to stand in front of you to pick you up and help you guide you towards the right direction, that person at that one point in time, that person was guided by somebody else that was humble. So the person that was humble before him made him become humble, and the person that decided to help me is humble because I'm humble.
Right.
You're not gonna get far by skipping over heads, and
No.
this is why I told you. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to be in the industry to knock people off for you to get ahead, let me tell you something. When you do get up there, the devil is waiting for you, bro.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
devil's waiting. The devil's waiting for you,
hmm
and he's gonna snatch that from you. You
He's
know,
gonna collect.
he's gonna collect. He's gonna collect what you jumped over, bro. So just be patient, be humble, be loving, be caring, and compassionate to others. Because when you do that, good things happen to you.
I believe that. I agree. I agree. I couldn't agree more because I feel like, everybody wants, especially now, you know how it is. We live in this microwave society.
Yeah,
Everybody
man. Yeah.
wants things now. Like you got people with no talent, with millions of followers on TikTok and this and that. They're
Yeah,
making money. God bless them. Whatever.
yeah,
But this is where we're at. They want everything now, 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 now. There's no longevity in that.
no, no. But that's the part about people wanting things now, now, now. Is when you try to rush things and you try to make it to that other pedestal, people are not gonna want to hear you, man.
No.
You know what I'm saying? People are gonna go from opening their ears and then shut it like that,
Right, right.
and they're gonna try to look forward to what's next. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot. That's why you need to take your time. Take your time and go to school, practice. You know what I'm saying? And see what you need to do to progress in the music industry. It's
Yeah.
a tough business. It's a tough business. You got to be prepared for it, and you got to be ready for happiness, frustrations. You got to be happy. You got to be prepared for moments where you're gonna cry. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
At times you're gonna feel like there's failure. You got to prepare yourself for all that. You know, it's not nothing's ever green on the other side. There's always gonna be some stem of fireworks there, some flames.
Right, right.
It's like touching. It's like touching football. I have to get off there, back off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, you're right. And that's the thing. And with you with your music, right? Because
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of your songs. I listened to them. There was a bunch of them. There was a few that stood out to me. A lot of them are relatable. That's what I
Yeah.
liked about the lyrics are relatable. Like you're talking about, like, right, and that's what I'm curious, because it's so fascinating to me. Your story's fascinating because I look at you and I think of somebody who's persevered, who had a dream, who's probably at some point put their dream on hold, right,
Yeah.
and said, "Screw this, I'm gonna do this." And I give you credit for that, because, like, just like, even like, for example, just what you were saying about, oh, no music video. I don't have, like, nonsense. Like,
Right.
that's why I told you there's gonna be music videos. It's just
Right.
that everything toda su tiempo. You know what I mean? Like, everything doesn't happen in one day.
Right.
So, about your music, I wanted to ask you this song that I really like in particular. The world needs to know. Where did you think of that concept?
The song the world needs to know was when I had first met Bruni.
I knew it. I had an idea. In my head. I didn't want to
Yeah.
assume that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The world needs to know, and it's funny because that's a freestyle song.
Okay.
The world needs to know is a freestyle song, and the song at that point, that song had her name in it.
Oh, okay.
It had her name in it. But then when I did the whole entire bachata thing, I took her name off, but I replaced it with something that still is significant to her,
Okay.
regardless if her name's not mentioned. But in the bachata is globally, so I wanted to be able to make sure that all the fans are going to be able
Right,
to
right. I
be
get
able to have that feel of what they're going through in
relatability.
their lives. Yeah. So that song was dedicated to her. That's how
Well
that
done.
song came to be. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that song. I liked it because a lot of everybody can, not everybody, but a lot of people can relate to that kind of story, right? Just
Yeah.
how especially in today's day and age, right? How the way we communicate is so different, right? It's not the same. Like way back, back in the day, you had to go to you go into a party, you go into a bar, you go into whatever, a stadium or something to have an event, and you
Yeah.
meet somebody. No, like, now everything is different. Everybody's, look at us. We're having this interview and
Yeah.
we're remote. We're able to converse from two different locations, right?
Well, if you listen to the part of the song where I'm mentioning it was one day on Facebook,
Right. I know. I heard this.
that's how that's how we met. We met through social media,
Unbelievable. Yep.
and we met through a DJ, and we were talking, but it was about strictly business
Right.
because at that time she was involved with other artists and promoting other artists and stuff like that. Well, we wanted to get together and do the same thing with me, and then just one thing led to another, and then blossomed into something interesting. It came from us working together to actually us working together
Right.
and being in a relationship. So
That's amazing. Now that's a great story, and it's funny. You were talking, going back to what you said before, going
Yeah.
through the proper channels, right?
Yep.
That's what I did to get you here, right? I went through
Yeah.
the proper channels. I didn't go to you directly. I knew who you were. I didn't follow you yet on social media, but I
Yeah.
knew who you were. I went through the proper channels. So
Right.
so
That's
that's
cool.
shout out to her for putting
Yeah.
this together.
Yeah. And yeah, and like she told me when she told me like, look, there's an interview and somebody would like to interview you. Are you interested? I was like, well, it's been a long time, but yeah, why not? You know, I'll be interested in why not?
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah.
I really appreciate you, man. I really do appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have me on your platform and introduce me to your followers.
Yeah.
Because
No,
I don't
listen,
know, you know what
my
I'm
pleasure.
saying? Mhm.
No, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
go ahead.
No, that I do appreciate that you were willing to put me on your platform to be able to have your followers to get to know who I am. You know, the person, the singer. You know, thank you.
No, no, of course, the pleasure's mine. Listen, I'm all about, a lot of this too. I tell people, yo le digo a mucha gente, right? Yo soy un cantante, un artista frustrado, okay? I live vicariously through, I've
Yep.
interviewed a ton of artists, musicians. I live vicariously through you guys. So for me, this is always a thrill. It's always a joy. A lot of my episodes are about the artist telling the story. It's
Mhm.
about entrepreneurs. It's a lot of Latinos who, such as yourself. My last episode, I interviewed an R&B vocalist who is from Arizona. She's a Mexicana, tremendous artist.
Really?
And I've interviewed other artists too who sing different genres. Most of it is hip hop and R&B, but I said, you know what? I got to get a different genre here. So I was like, let me interview a bachatero now who used to
Nice.
sing freestyle, right?
Yep.
So that was
That's
my
cool.
thing, and especially since seeing what you're doing, I see the grind, I see what you're doing, and so I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're pulling you back in to do more interviews. So
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. You know, because you never know from through this, I might end up being another other digital interviews and through you I might there might be somebody watching now and be like, wow, let me get him started into an interview, and it might be in a different state and then a different state, maybe overseas, because I've already had a couple interviews overseas. You
okay.
know, through the bachata I've been able to go overseas and presenting myself that way, so that's pretty cool. So a lot of things I've been able to accomplish, not in the freestyle genre, but as far as with the bachata thing, man, is really getting is really going somewhere.
Yeah,
It has gone
that's,
somewhere. It is. I feel really good about it. Feel really good about it.
I'm glad. No, I'm glad that is the case. So talking about you with as far as singing in bachata, right? In in that genre, what has been the reception as far as your style from maybe the traditionalists? Because you're always gonna have that traditionalist, right? The traditionalist consumer that says, "Hey, la bachata no se canta la bachata, en inglés, right? No
Yeah.
se puede cantar en inglés, right?
Mhm.
Bachata, or that may have, that may not. What do you say to that? Like, what has been your reception to as far as that, those individuals?
I do respect the point of view. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but years start to move on and then things change.
Right.
There has to be some sort of adaptation in order for a particular genre of music to keep progressing. There has to be change.
I agree.
You
I
know,
agree.
if there's no change in acceptance, then it's gonna fall back. I mean, if you look back in the history of bachata, where in the roots where it very began to where it is today, it's had a dramatic change,
Yes. Yes.
a
Absolutely.
dramatic change, and it's and just so many different styles of bachata. You're starting to listen to bachata that's mixed with reggaeton,
Right.
and you have your bachata mixed with its merengue and it's salsa. Like the song that Elvi Crespo just did not so long ago with Gilberto Santa Rosa
Right. Right. Had the salsa
and the Son
element.
Bachatero. the elements, the elements were put into that one song. So you have salsa, you have bachata, and you have merengue in one track.
Yeah, it was a nice song. Yeah, it was good rhythm for sure.
Yeah.
And
So and this is what I'm and this is the kind of this is the formula I'm bringing to bachata. The formula and mixture between freestyle and the urban music in bachata. It's something fresh, new, and something that's being introduced to the world globally.
I respect that
And I
for
don't have
sure.
no control. I really, honestly, I really have no control whether who's gonna like it or who's not.
Yeah. No,
Whoever whoever wants it can take it in. Whoever don't can stick to its original version. You know?
no, listen, I agree because I the reason I asked that question because I'm always curious to know, right, how people because people always they're used to there's always a group of people, a segment of people, consumers that say, no, this is not this. They're like the hardcore fans of an old they're stuck in the past. They like the old genre, right? They like even the salseros, right? You got some old salsa fans like, oh, this isn't Fania All Stars, like I
Yeah,
can't listen to. Well, Fania was out in the 70s. Like they don't like salsa from the 90s or the 2000s. It's the same
right.
thing. So
It
I just
is.
figured I ask.
You know what it is? It's not that they don't like the new music that's been coming out. It's having to adapt and accept to looking at new faces.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it lays on the most. You know, 'cause they're so used to seeing your Tito Nieves, Tito Roja, que para descanse, and you got your Luis Enrique, Tony Vega, and then you're listening to all these newer artists, and they're not. There's never going to be a similarity.
No.
What was once then was then. It was great. That's history.
Yeah.
That's going to live to the test of time. You can't rewrite history.
Yeah.
You can
You
only
can't. That's
you can
impossible.
only right. You can what you only can work on now is writing the future and who's going to be able to ride along with you.
Right. Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
I feel bad. I gotta tell you, and since we were talking about salsa as well, like I feel bad because I'm a salsero. I love salsa myself as well.
Me
Um,
too.
I feel bad for the newer generation that tries to sing that kind of music, that sings salsa, because it's almost like everything they do is not enough. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't get accepted. It doesn't get like people just dismiss it. No, this is not Grupo Nietzsche or whatever. This is
Yeah.
not Gran Combo. This is not this. And I that bothers me because it's like the genre will eventually just fade into oblivion with that attitude. You know?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, today when a lot of these salsa concerts are happening, and yeah, they're happening out in all these arenas, but it's underground.
Right. Right.
In order for you to watch India and what's his name, India Vito Manuel,
Víctor Manuel, yeah.
they're not on the same platform as Mark Anthony.
No.
All right, let's be realistic here. The only person that's kept salsa on a pedestal has been Mark Anthony,
Yes.
and why?
Mainstream, yes.
And why? Because Mark Anthony has been able to adapt not just to only salsa, but you had the man singing reggaeton, you have him singing pop,
Right.
and all these other genres. So this is what's keeping his name alive. So when you hear in every corner, every street corner, Mark Anthony, everybody's gonna know the name.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? And that's what's keeping Mark Anthony where he's at today.
Well, I felt like Victor Manuel was like a distant second for a while, though.
Yeah,
To be fair, because he has songs in recent time, right? A couple years ago with Bad Bunny and stuff like that. So
yeah,
he did try to adapt, but again, like you said, there's only one Mark Anthony, so it's like Mark Anthony's Mark Anthony, and then
right,
everybody else is wherever they are. That's not
right.
they can't reach
Like put me for example, right? You have your Romeo Santos.
that. Right. Right.
Romeo Santos is on a pedestal, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna ever be a Romeo Santos, and I'll be the first to admit to that. I will never be as greater of an artist than Romeo Santos is. But I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do whatever I can to stamp my name when
right?
people listen to bachata.
You could
My
be
name's
Benny
gonna be
Gonzalez.
right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be Benny Gonzalez, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, okay. Ese es el hombre que canta esa canción, una madre. Ese que canta la canción Princesa Latina. You know, the world needs to know my songs."
Yeah, yeah. Now those songs were well done, and so before we go, I want to know, right, about your what do you have next? What's on the docket next for you? What is next in the world of Benny Gonzalez? Talk to the audience. Let us know.
Well, like I said, there's some things that are gonna be developing. I cannot address them at the moment.
It's
You know what I'm
surprising.
saying? It's surprises that are gonna be coming. But I can't say what I can say is, I highly recommend for everybody to hold on to their seats because they're in for a ride. You know,
Oh,
and I'm gonna be happy and I'm gonna be proud to share it with the world.
nice.
You know,
Nice.
there
Tell
and the one thing that I would, if I were to give advice to anybody that's trying to get into the industry today, it's just be patient. Be patient. Uh, Never underestimate yourself. Uh, Try your best to not allow for yourself that sense of wanting to give up, and just keep striving. Keep striving. Your moment's gonna come, but it takes time.
for sure. No, for sure, definitely. That's great. Great advice for everybody out there for sure. I mean, that's for sure perseverance, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the word. Perseverance.
So where can so tell everybody where they can find your music.
Okay, you can search my music on Spotify. You can go under Benny Gonzalez Music. You could go under Benny Gonzalez Topic on YouTube. Uh, you could go into Apple Music, uh, SoundCloud, all these digital platforms. You'll find my music there.
Benny
Music Choice.
Gonzalez available
You
on
can
all digital platforms.
right, and you can also look me up on Music Choice on your cable satellite distributor. You can go through there and look at my music on Music Choices there as well.
Nice. That's a good look. That's a good
Yeah,
look. Music choice is a good look. Listen, people gotta clean their house. They gotta put the music on. They put
yeah.
on, oh, let me put music on the TV. I've found plenty of artists like that. Trust me. That
Estoy cocinando en
will
casa y cocinando, limpiando. You can listen to some Benny Gonzalez.
there you go. When you're cleaning, cooking, doing whatever you're doing at home, put on some Benny Gonzalez.
That's
There
right.
you go. Benny Gonzalez. Social media. Plug your socials, please.
Social media, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, uh, Twitter, just all different platforms you can find me in. But majority of the time, you'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter,
Nice. All right.
or WhatsApp.
Oh, what's you got to give your handle because there's also going to be the audio version of this as well. So just I want people to be able to hear it. Um, so give your handles. Just say the name um, of where they can find you on each platform, so you can
All right.
plug
All right.
those.
On Facebook, you can look me up under Benny Gonzalez.
Yep.
Under Instagram, you can find me under Benny G 1981. You can find me on Spotify, um, Apple Music, and all these digital platforms where you'll listen to my music. That's where you'll find me.
Nice.
If there's any interest, if there's anyone interested in booking me, feel free to contact the number 413-693-6743. That's Bruni De Leon. She's my manager that's been independently managing me and promoting my stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Man, excellent, excellent, brother. Listen, I'm looking. Keep in touch, okay? I
Absolutely.
want to see what you have going on. I know. listen, when you have something, when you're ready to, release that next thing, and when you're ready, let me know. I want to be one of the first ones to find out. Okay.
Oh, you will definitely, most definitely. And again, thank you so much for your time and
Thank
and
you.
and, and having me on your show. And un abrazo y un saludo a todo el mundo que esté velando en estos momentos. Un abrazo fuerte y no.
Un placer, un placer. Muchas
Nos
gracias.
vemos la
Thank you.
próxima. Thank
Hasta la
you.
próxima. Thank you so much, Benny
Thank you.
Gonzalez, everybody. Um, that was great. Um, I want to thank my guest Benny Gonzalez. That was a really good story. I mean, his story is just so interesting because he took a road that was a different road and then wound up in another place, and he found his footing. And so I always love these stories like this. And obviously, look, he's got some surprises. He's got some things that he's working on, and I look forward to seeing what he's gonna do next, because it's gonna be really interesting to watch. And that's what it's all about. It's all about uplifting. It's all about really um, having people tell their story, because the story's not done; it's still being written. So definitely, it's. I look forward to seeing what he has next in store. And of course, that was episode number 39. I want to thank my guests. Obviously, special shout out to Bruni De Leon as well for having Mr. Gonzalez on here to have this interview. I really appreciate it. Special shout out to her, and of course, don't forget to follow me on social media, please. Instagram Santos Thread Shop, as well as on TikTok Santos Thread Shop. The YouTube channel, the Santos Says Podcast, and away we go. If you didn't comment or like, make sure you comment, like, share the whole thing. And that was episode 39. As always, don't just say what you mean or mean what you say. Say what your chest.